Hey, Hellraiser, please come with me. I ask you once more, so please come with me.
Damien, Omen 2.
What's up, Hellraisers? Welcome back to yet again another movie review. And we made it to Damien, Omen 2. If you don't know, this is my favorite in terms of all the Omen movies. But I'm not going to give away too much in terms of why it's my favorite. But I'm going to give you a little bit of plot, give you the pros and the cons, and we're going to go from there. So, Damien Omen 2 tells the story about Damien, who is now a preteen, and he finally found out that he is the Antichrist. He's the beast. He's the devil himself. And throughout the entire runtime of this movie, some very strange and horrific events start to happen surrounding Damien. And everybody in this movie is trying to convince everyone else who don't know who Damien is that Damien is the Antichrist. So this is another one of those films, just like I said about the first one, where I saw it at a very young age. And when I first saw it, I immediately fell in love with the movie because of the suspense, the build-up, the characters, the arc, and so much more. This is one of those films that I would truly say is another film that's ahead of its time, but it came out at the right time. This movie came out in 1978. The first film came out in 1976. You do the math. But with all that being said, let's just dive into the pro. You can really see what is it about this movie that I love it so much. My first pro with this movie will have to be the performance of the little boy that played Damien in this movie. For Damien to be a preteen in this movie is just a huge upgrade. Now you can hear Damien speak. You can see him doing a few things. And in this movie, you see Damien doing far more than what he was doing in the original film, even though he was a little boy back in 1976. But right here in this movie, you see Damien as a full-on preteen, and there's so much more that Damien brings to the character. At least the guy that portrayed Damien's character. The acting was well acted from him. I enjoy him in this entire movie. But in this movie, Damien feels like a real person. He doesn't feel like that little boy that you saw in the original film. Follow up with another pro will have to be, this movie has a lot of kills. Just like I said in the original film from 76, in this movie has some damn good kills, and they wasn't afraid to go for it because they went for it. One of my favorite kills will have to be the mid-section decapitation when the guy was in the elevator, and then he was pressing the button, then the elevator started acting weird, then he fell flat on his ass, and then he heard something above the elevator. It's like some type of cord that allowed the elevator to go up and down. It broke off, came through the elevator, and decapitated his waist. Separate his upper half, of his body from his legs. And it was so horrific, and they showed it. That is my favorite kill. There's a lot of kills in this movie that I like, but that's the only one that stands out. To be honest, I kind of think that this movie, Final Destination, took inspiration from this movie, which kind of shares the same premise, right? Because Final Destination is about death, killing people, and in this movie, even though it's the devil himself, but it's more like it's death trying to stop people from spoiling the world on who Damien is. Another pro for me will have to be one of my favorite scenes, not my favorite death, but my favorite scene that does not involve a death, would be when Damien was being quizzed by the teacher, and Damien was just dropping year after year after year after year after year, and it is the most satisfying thing to see. Because have you ever had a teacher that tried to quiz you on some shit and you just knew all the answers, and that teacher get mad when you start to call them out? I know I have. I've had that one history teacher that tried to call me out over some stuff that I already knew. And when I started calling him out, he got so frustrated. This is why this scene is so good for me, because I've had a moment like that when the teacher started quizzing me and I just started throwing facts right back at the teacher. And it was so horrific. But in this scene, I get so hyped up for it because it's believable. Especially when it comes down to teachers.
Start or finish?
Start.
1618. The Black Death.
1334.
Abraham Lincoln's death.
1865.
Charles First.
1649.
Oliver.
Another part for me will have to be, spoiler, will have to be at the end. When we found out that Damien's auntie was a psychotic, which she was a devil worshiper. When I first started this movie, it was bone chilling. Looking back at it now, it's still as effective because I damn near forgot until oh shit, she finna kill her own husband because she wanna side with Damien. But all of a sudden Damien kills her anyway because he's the Antichrist. Why the fuck not? And my final pro will have to be the fact that this movie was filmed right here in Chicago, my hometown, where I'm from. It's good to see the Steel Tower. I'm not gonna call it the fucking Willis Tower, so get the fuck out of here. It's the Steel Tower. It's good to see all these Chicago landmarks that I grew up seeing throughout my entire life. It's good to see that. I forgot to mention one more pro. One more pro will have to be the music, the score. Just like I said in the first Omen movie, how they used that score for the advantage. Well, in this movie, they turned it up even louder. The score is still good. Jerry Goldsmith. Jerry Goldsmith. He did such a fantastic job with the score in this movie because it is amazingly good. I love the score just as much as I love it in the original film. But in this one, like I said, they turned the volume up even louder. It's more intense, it's more methodical, it's much more of a slow and a fast pace at the same time. So moving right on into the myth. Now the myth is more like the stuff that I dislike or the stuff that I wish they would have done more with. And honestly, right here in my myth will have to be that the story does kind of feel like the original film. People going around telling other people who don't know who Damien is that Damien is the Antichrist, Damien is the Antichrist, you must stop him. By this time, you gotta do something different. And in this movie, it's damn near the same thing. The only difference is that they literally just made Damien a preteen instead of being a 2 or 3 year old. Well, he was 5 years old in the original movie. But instead, they decided, well, let's just make Damien a preteen and they could do the same thing from the other movie, just a copy and paste. No, it doesn't take away my love and enjoyment for the movie. I still like this movie. It's still one of my favorites. But to me, it feels like they just copy the original movie and do the same thing and just make people say Damien is the Antichrist over and over and over. And another myth for me would have to be that when Damien was told to read the last book of the Bible, which is Revelation, and he was told to read about who he was. And as you see Damien reading the book, you hear Damien saying to himself as he was reading, and all of a sudden Damien gets spooked, closed the book, and then he runs outside. And then one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie is when Damien go, why? Why me? And from there on, you would think that this would be a complete different movie because now Damien has finally said, I didn't want this. So why give it to me? Why make me the devil's son? I don't want this. But all of a sudden, the movie just made him full on evil from that point. And so Damien just said, sweet, I'm the devil's son and now I'm going to go around fucking torturing people. It's so weird how that transition happened. There has to be a deleted scene that they deleted out that could have been the most important part. I don't know. I'm just saying. It's a weird little transition. And another myth for me would have to be the Raven was supposed to be the photographer plot from the original film back in '76. It's so weird because every time the Raven showed up, it kind of gave away what was about to happen to the victim. Because just like I said before, I said again, if the once you find out who Damien is, and if death thinks that you're gonna get too close to telling somebody, the Raven shows up and someone dies. To me, that kind of took away the suspenseful of the movie. I still enjoy it, but it kind of took away the suspense of the movie because once that Raven show up, you already know that someone was about to die because you saw the Raven. And my final mix with this movie will have to be when Damien's uncle had told his wife that he was going to New York. And in the background, Wait, I literally got ahead of myself. But like I said, he told his wife he was going to New York. So he gets on his private jet and flies to New York. Then he lands in New York. But yet, he's still in Chicago because you can see the steel tower in the background. If he's going to be in New York, can you not show the steel tower because he's supposed to be in New York? But I can clearly see the steel tower in the background. It's such a weird little nitpick that you have to be able to catch. And when you catch it, it's very noticeable. But my overall thought is that Damien Omen 2 is just one of those films, just like I said with the original film, I can watch it and have a blast with it. My grade for this movie will have to be an A-. I enjoy this movie like fucking crazy. And it's one of those films where when you folks put it on, if you watching it for the first time, you have no idea where this motherfucker gonna go unless you watch the first one and then you go, okay, now so is he gonna be full on evil now that people know who he is? But in this movie, it's a different take, but the story feels the same. But like I said, The Omen is just one of them films where I enjoy watching. I started at a very young age. So that's pretty much gonna wrap up today's Pacific review. Make sure y'all stay tuned for the final conflict, Omen 3. And yeah, so just before I let y'all go, make sure you drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on bell notification. If you want to get in touch with me, all my social media link will be in the description down below. So I hope to catch you Hellraiser in the next video. Don't forget to stay creepy, stay spooky, and I'll see you Hellraiser in the next video.